Okay, we come back.
Were you able to save it? Was it okay to save?
Yeah, yeah, I already like share on my Instagram. I'll download it later.
Okay. Hi,
Okay.
friends. We're back. Oh, hi, Erica.
Oh my god.
Erica, the future is so supportive. Like, my dad introduced her to me, and she's just been supporting my journey so much. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to her because I really, really appreciate you, Erica.
Yeah.
Hi, Ashley
Thank you
Brown.
guys. Okay, let's answer the question.
Oh, yeah. So Corey, she's not in here yet, but she asked, Corey specifically asked, what did she ask? Corey asked about moving and if companies pay. I don't know if she's going to join again, but if there's any other questions while we wait, or if Pete, you want to continue your questions until we give people time that if they want to join again.
Yeah, as I said, learning to accept the truth is a part of, building your career path. Because before you after you graduated, you have to go back to your USA for work, and then you kind of accept the truth that you have to go back, and then
Yeah.
you gain your experience, and then you make your career path, and then you come back here in Switzerland again. I think it's
Yeah.
really cool to do that, you know.
Thank you.
And I mean like you can take us as inspiration for moving wherever you want. Oh my god, wherever you want to be. It's really nice to set your goal, like set where you want to be, and then you're working every day in your country to get the place that you want to go.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Sometimes my friends who are in here know this about me personally, that sometimes I devalue my own feelings and my own whatever, I guess, about myself. I mean, not to, I have confidence. I'm confident in myself. But,
Mm-hmm.
I do have that element of, sometimes I think other people's problems or struggles are bigger than mine. So I devalue my experience. I devalue my feelings, et cetera, et cetera. But, on the outside looking in and just talking to, I had a conversation with a friend, introduced me to a girl who had just graduated from school, and she wanted advice. And, I was able to give her a bit of advice on, where I was after I graduated. And just to hear her, appreciation for our conversation, it made me realize that, what I think is normal, like my normal day to day, because I'm not out here just like flaunting my life, like, I'm this, that. I'm not like that. It's not my personality to be that way. But she really appreciated it. And I realized that people, want to hear about people's journey so they can be inspired, and maybe even ask specific questions so they can do the same thing if they're interested. So I do
Mm.
appreciate that. And I am being more open about sharing my journey, because it's not normal for a Black
Yeah.
girl from West Philly to be sitting in Switzerland right now. It looks like Corey is back in. So Corey, I can answer your question. So most companies,
Hi, Korea.
depending most companies, depending on your level in the
Why
company,
is Katrina?
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Uh,
Katrina is
no,
here.
Corey asked the question about if companies will pay for you to move or whatever. But yeah, so depending on your level in the company, companies provide a package or a stipend for you to move. When I first moved to Boston, they provided me a stipend because my level in the company wasn't that high. So they just gave me enough money. They gave me a set price, and I was able to use that to pay for my flight. Hi, Brian. To pay for my flight, and then also get my life together in terms of my first month's rent of my apartment. But then when I moved to Switzerland, the role was higher than my role at Reebok, and if I had like a boyfriend or a husband, they were going to pay for my husband to move too. Let's just say that. So they packed up my entire house. They packed up everything from my house. Like literally, they came in and like I'm OCD, so I packed it up first. So I packed up my stuff the way I particularly wanted it to be. And then the moving company came in and packed up my stuff and then moved it. And because I was just moving from Boston after just moving from Italy, I didn't have a whole house to move. They give you a container space of what you are allowed to move. Like I could have moved. I'll be your husband. So they gave me like a huge container space. Like if I had a huge house, they would have moved that whole thing over. But because I was coming from like an apartment in Boston, I just had this little tiny little stuff to move over and like all my clothes and everything like that. And then when I arrived here, it was such a great time integrating here because even when I moved here, once I arrived, they gave me money to take Italian lessons. So I'm on my 3rd year now of taking Italian lessons. They also paid for my first 2 months of transportation. So like whether or not if I wanted to rent a car, they would have paid for that. But I chose to do public transport for, saving the world, environmental friendly. So yeah, they paid for my transportation on the train. Yeah, they just paid for a lot of things. And, they gave me a stipend of money as well. Just to really make sure that my life here was comfortable, it was a comfortable transition of moving here. And I think that's a testament to if I did have a family, like they would have helped my kids find school, like, things like that. So I think it's really interesting if you're moving abroad. I mean, I don't know how a lot of other companies work, but VF is amazing in that. So if you do want to move abroad through a company, don't be afraid because there are some companies who take really great initiatives in moving international people over. So don't let that hesitate you. And then also, ask questions. Like if you are in the position where you're getting moved by a company, you can ask, what are you going to do to benefit me to be able to come over here easily, But yeah, that's that question. Did someone else have a question? I saw. Yeah, I was asking as an American how you speak up or make questions respectfully. With Asian team as Asian could take direct straight message as offensive. Oh, that's a good question because when you're working with different nationalities, you
Mm-hmm.
really learn how people take to you. So Americans are seen as, a bit sensitive, emotional, direct, because how even if you look at the social media right now, how involved we all are emotionally and passionately about what's going on in the world. So a lot of people see that about us. Me specifically, I am a direct person when I work because I'm used to working in that way. If I need to present a design and I needed to get it approved, I don't need like a runaround answer. I need like a yes or no, like what's working, what's not working.
Yeah,
So we're not wasting time. And I can go back
totally.
and, yeah, because it's a waste of time if you're running around the bush and not trying to hurt people's feelings. Like, because creative people are, we're creative. So, the first thing is if someone, offends your work, someone's probably going to get offended by that. But again, if you work in a business, you need to put your feelings aside and also take good critiques, good criticism. So, for me, I do appreciate directness. I appreciate that from leadership, whether it's a black and white answer, yes or no. But you also need to look at, I haven't completely changed, but I evolved myself around certain people. So I'm still like direct to the point, Alicia, and people, it's been 3 years now, people know how I am. They know how, if I come to a meeting, I know, I'm going to want to know like this, that, and the third. I'm going to do a recap. Like, they know I'm pretty much to the point. And I think sometimes that helps influence how some people speak to me. Like if they're not so direct, they know what I'm looking for, a direct answer. So maybe they'll come out of themselves and give me that. But even for me, like when I navigate working with different people, I know how to, tone down the directness, but still, ask for what I need in a way that's not too offensive, because I understand culturally someone like you mentioned, Pete, that you were afraid of me because I spoke English really well,
Yeah.
which I don't know that, I don't, coming into a new territory, I'm not aware that I can be intimidating to someone who English isn't their
Yeah.
first language, So that's another thing that I learned within myself, like, to not take things to heart and to understand people relate and connect with different cultures differently. And I think that's very important.
Yeah, I mean like this thing is really like matter because in Thailand people correcting English like regularly. I mean,
Yeah. And are you
when
offended by that when
like
they correct your English?
no, you
Do you
never
get
correct
offended?
my English. Yeah, no, of course not. Because like
Okay.
you have the way you have the way like to correct me by like asking me like repeat the question.
Yeah.
Like, okay, am I understand right or no?
Yeah. Yeah.
When I like when I speak to you. But you
Yeah.
know, like in Thailand, people really shy or timid
Yeah.
to speak up because of the language barrier. You understand that?
Yeah. 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 And
Right,
I
because
completely
like
understand.
that's why like a lot of like great talent designer in Asia right now, they not speak up
Mhm.
to like to I have to mention that in Thailand right now in the industry, we are hire a lot of foreigner to come to be like head designer, manager in Thailand. So we like basically like Thai fashion designer have to work with like you know foreigner, and it's really
Yeah.
hard to speak to them because like we too shy to speak up because
Oh.
like you know our language barrier or
Yeah. The
something like
language
that
barrier.
is a
But
problem. Yeah,
I think that's so interesting. And Kat or Kat said you being self aware and insightful. I think that's important to be that way. So if you're
yeah.
she also highlighted your flawless skin, but but
God, sorry, I
but
love you.
I think you as an Asian person, I think, it is important to also be, you are self-aware that, this is how Asian people come off to other, you know, um, other nationalities. But maybe there could be a case where you can probably see that about yourself and see what you can do to be a bit more confident. Because I know you, Pete, you're confident in and of yourself. But and that might be the case for most people. You can be confident, but once you're in a certain territory with other people because of a language barrier, that confidence changes. I go through that being here. I speak English in a place where people speak Italian. So I as confident as I am, if I'm in a situation where I need to talk my Italian, I start to talk slower because I'm like, first of all, they probably gonna make fun of me because of how slow I'm talking Italian. Second, it's a different dynamic that you're in, because if I was in America and I needed to stand up for myself about something, I would do it like, no
Yeah,
issue.
I know you.
Here, it's a bit frustrating because you already have to add your second language that you have. So speaking Italian to really try to explain what you're going through is a bit of a frustration. And then also that insecurity of speaking a language that's not your first language. When I speak
Yeah,
Italian to other people, I do appreciate the people who are really nice and they understand what I'm trying to say. And, they talk slower to me so that I can understand. But then I encountered some people who, if I pronounce my R wrong, they will be like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about." No capito, no capito. And I'm like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, I just pronounced one little thing. It's like saying water and water. Like, you knew what word I was trying to say. So I understand your struggle about the insecurity when it
yeah,
comes down to talking to another language, because English isn't the first language here. So I spend my day to day for the past 3 years of navigating a community of speaking another language, and sometimes I do find myself, like, if I am in a situation where I'm very insecure, I'll say parli inglese. Like, that's my first cop out. I'm like, do you speak Italian? I mean, do you speak English? Which I'm learning now to not use that, because that is a handicap. I can't, if I'm interacting with people, the first thing I say in Italian can't be, do you speak English? Because I've been
mm,
studying it for a while now, and I need to just go out and just use my language, since use the Italian language, so that's what I've
mm-hmm.
been doing more and more. And it's nice. Like, even like daily interactions that I have with, like, my beauty lady, like when I go chat with her, we be talking about personal stuff in Italian. Like, it's super, I don't know. I think once you get past your insecurity, which is a normal human thing to have. Like, I'm insecure when I speak another language.
Mm.
But I do wish that people who come to Thailand who aren't Asian, I wish they were aware of what you guys feel, and they can be a bit more gentle when they are dealing with
Mm-hmm.
someone who doesn't speak English as their first language. Because when you look at the reality of that, these foreigners are entering territories that aren't their territory. So they need to respect Thailand, respect the language, and don't come in
It's
high and
okay.
mighty like I'm better than you because I speak English. You know what I mean?
You-
Also, I asked you, are you offended when people correct your English? Because I remember when I was living in Italy, you remember, like with Daisy, when
Yeah,
Daisy would
Daisy
talk to
mentioned
me.
that.
Yeah, Daisy would always get upset with me because I wouldn't correct her. And I'm like, Daisy,
Mm,
that's rude. I'm not going to interrupt you and be like, no, it's
yeah.
I don't even know a word. Like, I'm not going to interrupt you and correct your English. But
Yeah,
with Daisy
that's what I
specifically, she
really
told me
like.
she wants me to do it.
Yeah, that's what I really appreciating you, because like after that, like whatever people gonna correcting me in my English, so I'm gonna say like, I have one native speaker from America and she never did, like, she never correcting my English. And yeah, I learned a lot. I learned to speak like English from her, and she never be like, yeah, you should like pronounce like this, you should like say like this, like that. I think it's really rude, like that
Yeah,
people correcting English, like like, especially when it comes to the career or like communicate with the team, it's
yeah,
not it's not appropriate to do it. Like
yeah. It's not
what?
appropriate. It's not
Yeah,
appropriate.
I mean, like even Italian people, they don't do it. Like when you try to speak Italian, they're not gonna be like speak like, yeah, you should
Yeah,
pronounce like this,
yeah,
no, it's wrong. Or even like something like, if you say wrong and then the meaning gonna change in like in some way, that okay, you can like give me a nut, like give me a notch, like, yeah, no, don't say that, or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's okay to say that, but
yeah.
don't embarrass people
Exactly.
by
That's
that.
why I appreciate my team because I work with a lot of Italian people, and I'm always speaking Italian to them, and they're so patient. They're like and they'll teach me. So I have one guy on my team. He teaches me a lot of bad stuff. He teaches me all the bad stuff to say in Italian. But I really appreciate them because they know that I obviously respect the culture, and that I respect enough to be taking lessons. I've been taking
Mm,
lessons for 3 years now. And yeah, I think the world is such a melting pot, and I think we need to respect each other's differences and be mindful of how you interact with people.
yeah. And I remember,
Yeah.
Kat and like all of your friends that came to Thailand last
Oh
year,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
they're all lovely. Like it was like, okay, please,
Thank
you speak
you.
English fine. I was like, yeah, I'm trying it, because like sometimes I'm nervous, like especially like you guys talking about something that I'm not really like I don't understand, and I was like, okay, I'm trying to be like the one who join you guys about like the conversation or something like that. And
Yeah,
it's
your
really
cat's sending hearts
amazing.
out now. No,
I love
no,
her.
my friends, they love you. Kat,
Yeah.
Alicia, they love you. I was so happy that not only was I able to visit Thailand and see your hometown and everything that you showed us, your culture. I really, really appreciate that. But I think the most impactful thing for me was the fact that my American friends met my friends in Thailand, and how you were able to show them a different part of traveling that we may not have normally would have gotten. A lot of
Mm.
Americans travel to Thailand, and it's great, it's amazing. But the fact that my friend, was so open to showing us around to local stuff and your culture, like I know Kat really appreciates that. She said, no
Thank you,
man, we're just
Kat.
naturally respectful of you. You did amazing. We wanted to be able to understand your culture
I
and your
need to
vibe.
talk. Yeah, I mean, like I need to talk with Kat in live, on live.
Yeah.
I need to
Oh, do
talk
it,
with
Kat.
her.
Kat, you hear that? He want to do a live with you.
Because like I'm follow like her Instagram, like Black Man Cry to is really amazing like
Yeah.
platform, and I think like
Yeah.
it's good that like Thai people should like can see
To be
it or
exposed to
share
that.
about
Yeah,
it.
because
Yeah.
it's not even, because it's really prevalent, obviously, in the Black American community, but it's also very prevalent in, it can also be very prevalent in also different cultures, and then also in men in general. So that would be interesting. I think you two should connect.
Kat, I listen to you like every episode on live TV. I want to say
Oh,
that.
that's so sweet.
Really. Yeah. And yeah, we have to get back to our topic, Alicia. Also,
Oh,
it's
sorry.
gonna be
Yes, sorry. We went
going
on
too
a bit of a
far.
tangent.
Yes, Peter. So, okay, the topic that I'm going to ask you next question. If you guys have any question about like sustainable and like how you deal with a fashion company, so you guys just leave the comment below. And Yeah, I'm just gonna ask you about what is your definition of sustainability?
So for me, my definition of sustainability is basically learning the world that we live in and learning how not to hurt it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
as humans, we coexist on a planet with other species, and as humans, we're so bad to our home. Like the plastic issue, the plastic in the oceans. Just so many things. Even with like pollution in the air, from like cars and things like that. I think we're really bad to the place that we call home. So for me, my definition of sustainability is wrapping around your head around the idea of what can we do to make things better.
Mm-hmm.
Sustainability touches on the topic of, product that supports the environment, uses the environment's resources in a healthy way, and not in a way that causes damage. That's not a Webster's definition, but that's my definition.
Yeah, because like right now it's kind of cliche word that people like keep saying that like sustainability, like we have to do like eco sustainability, and then they don't even know how is sustainable gonna like work for the fashion company or any like fashion house, something like that. I'm get like word about sustainable, but
Hmm.
you know something that people sell about the sustainable is so high cost. you know you get what I mean, like it's so
Yeah,
expensive like
yeah.
to use some sustainable thing, and I'm worried about like people like not gonna use it anymore as a sustainability or something like that.
Hmm.
Like as a as a designer that you work in the Timberland, do you have like anything to say about that? Like how you're responsible to the world about
Um,
sustainability?
so I think currently sustainability has become like a trend. So you know how people do trends, they fall in a trend, they fall in of a trend and then they fall out of a trend. Trends come and go. I think currently when you look at the fashion industry, sustainability is a trend. Because people see how popular it is. So people who normally weren't, curious about sustainability now are, which isn't a problem. We need more people to be sustainable.
Yeah.
Um, but I hope it continues, and doesn't fade off like a trend that goes away. Working at Timberland has always put sustainability at the forefront, to the point that our collection, at least 90% of our collection is like organic cotton. We
Mm.
do organic fibers, we do recycled materials for like our nylons. So we push a big initiative on how to be, recycled. And because that is already our DNA, we don't hike up our prices. We already have our premium quality prices of what we already introduced to the market. I think the reason why other companies are making the sustainable items so expensive, because sustainability isn't something that they're used to doing. So for them, for their company, investing in these fabrics or, recycling things and things like that, that might be a bit more expensive for them to do. So that's why they're going in and they're charging their consumers way more. But what I say is, it is a trend and I'm hoping that it stays. And I hope that they can find a way to bring down that price, because at the end of the day, as I said, we're all humans and we all live on this earth. And it's like the way you would take care of your home, it should be the same way that we take care of the planet. There's so many things that's going on in the world that is, to be
Mm.
honest, quite frankly, is because of humans. We aren't taking care of our home. And I think sustainability is the perfect answer to that, the perfect answer to how we can really, find solutions in a cool way. Like there's a lot of brands who are doing cool things, like Adidas when they did the Parley
Yeah.
sneaker, when they did recycled water bottles to make their sneaker. We also have a lot of footwear platforms within Timberland outside of the yellow boot where we've taken recycled plastic and we make shoes out of that. So I think people just need to be, more conscious of that and more conscious of, you know, protecting the environment. And yeah, I think more consumers could probably be interested in that as well. How they can support a brand who supports their personal mission, and it's not just about putting out fashion, something that looks cool one day and then it's not cool the next day. It's about really valuable, tangible stuff that really has meaning. And then it could be cool at the same time, depending on how we market it. So
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, like, you know, as a designer, so I'm looking for like the true definition of sustainable, and you know, some like kind of like circular circular economy or something like
circularly
that. I
designed,
think,
yeah.
yeah, all this kind of stuff. But do you think it's because like it's a big company that can doing some stuff like that? How about like the small business or small fashion house? How they going to do like sustainability products for the customer?
I think you can take different routes with that. There's a lot of companies who are doing upcycle projects. So during my time of quarantine, I've been quarantined with my sewing machine. So
Mm,
I've been taking like some of my old clothes and making them new so I can want to wear them again. When you think about the topic of circular design, for anybody who doesn't know, circular design is, literally it's a circle, it's closing
yeah.
the loop. Normally people design in a line where, you get your resource, you know, you make a garment out of it. And then when you're not wearing it anymore, you just throw it in the trash. That's a linear
Mm,
way of designing, which isn't good for the environment. Because when you get to that trash, you end up having a landfill of all this polluted stuff that can't be recycled, that can't be, it can't go into the earth because it's made of things that aren't recyclable. And then it lands in our ocean. So that's a really bad way of designing linearly. But when you talk about circular design, it's how we can close that loop. And you close that loop by starting with your resource, the product that you made, the consumer is wearing it. And then when he's done using it, he can put it in the place where he can recycle it. And it goes back to you can put it back in that manufacturer and that factory and recycle that fabric and make a new fabric. And then you start over again with your resource to making your product to your consumer. The consumer's done using it, recycle
mm-hmm,
it, and it's a closed loop. And I think in order to really, effectively do that, small businesses can think of many ways, whether you're really mindful of the fabric that you're using to make sure that it can break down. So I did like a circular design training, and they showed us that a lot of fabrics have, if you make a fabric like this is 100% cotton, so
yeah.
this is going to easily recycle. If it's going to a site for recycling fabric, they're going to take my 100% cotton t-shirt and put it in one pile. However, if I'm wearing something that has like polyester and cotton, they need to put that in another section because it's not that easily to break apart the fibers. So I think as designers, if you're curious, if you're cautious about what's 100% organic, what can be recycled and things like that, that's how you can really, take the first approach of, making product that's going to have a closed loop life cycle. On top of
Mm,
that, I mentioned upcycle. A lot of brands or not a lot of brands, a lot of designers are, thrifting and making clothes new. Another thing in circular design, as consumers, I relate to this obviously because I'm a consumer as well. We buy something, and then we don't want to wear it anymore. Like 6 months later, it's in our closet, and we forget that we even have it. So the idea of upcycling, I think, is a nice approach to give new life to your clothes that you aren't going to wear anymore, so that you can stop buying so much things mindlessly. So yeah, like as I mentioned before, I've been taking a lot of my old clothing, stuff that I don't really wear, and making it new. And I can't wait till we're fresh out of quarantine so I can pop out in my new outfits.
I saw that. I saw it. Yeah, it's really interesting that you know people can investigate about like how sustainability and like you know circular design gonna work out in the fashion industry. And I hope it's not gonna be just only a trend or the
Yeah,
content that people are gonna use as a marketing tool
yeah,
to promote their brand or the product. So I think because like I'm really into it about this situation, and I love secondhand clothes, and I love to like you know create a new thing. And you know
yeah,
like my collection is all about finding the fabric that I went to the flea market, and you know how I get the fabric from
yeah.
in Italy because it's so expensive to buy like nice cotton wool or something like that. Yeah, I think we can like reach out and then you know talking about sustainability more and more.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think So, any suggestion for like young designer who wants to work with fashion industry or like who want to move to abroad for working or studying or anything? If you have any suggestion to like young designer, not only designers, any career
Yeah.
or everyone like that watching you right now.
I would just say like know yourself, know what you want, and really don't limit yourself. Um, just to bring back the first story that I mentioned in our first hour of the live about how shocked I was that I won the first place scholarship to something that really changed my life 5 years later. You know, it's not that I didn't believe in myself, but I was competing against a global audience, so
Mm,
I didn't know what my talent could be in comparison to people in global areas. So that's why I say don't limit yourself. Do I think when people limit themselves, they don't even try. They don't try to apply to something because they're like, oh, I'm not going to be good enough for that. Oh, so and so might be better. So, but I think having that mindset really stops you in your track. And I think the more you believe in yourself, and really just act on your beliefs in yourself, and apply for stuff, things that you think that you won't be able to get, do it anyway, and you never know where that would take you. I think once you get ahead of that first part, research is also important. So when I was looking, I obviously spent a lot of time researching when I first moved to Italy to learn more about the country and to understand, where I could live and things like that. So I did a lot of research to understand the culture, um, and really just navigate like where you would want to live. If there's a country that you feel like, it's a certain lifestyle that you might be able to relate with, again, research, and see how you can fit into that narrative, or if you just want to try to do something different. So I think, believing in yourself, researching, areas, whether it's a different country that you want to live in or a different city. I know a lot of people who probably haven't moved outside of their current city. So moving to a different city within the same country is also a big step. So I think you need to research that. Also, I think that applies to careers as well. If you don't know what you want to do in terms of your specific job, or like if you don't see jobs being posted or whatever, I think the first thing you should do on your career search is think of a brand that you like, that you resonate with, a brand that you feel like has its values, the same values that you have, a product that you obviously like, and then you'll see, where that company is located. So that's the first thing you do. Find a brand that you would love to work with. And then, you can find out what those job postings are for that job. If you want to get into corporate, find out what the job postings are. If there aren't any job postings, you can still do your research and find out who HR is in the field that you want to be in. So if you want to be in design, you find out who the HR lead is for design. And they may not have a job listing or posted um, for design specifically, but if you contact, I think LinkedIn is a powerful tool if you are in the corporate world, because
yeah,
you can reach
Lincoln.
out to that HR design person and be like, just send. It's nothing wrong with sending emails. We live in such a virtual world. You introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Alicia. I'm from Philadelphia. I'm a designer and I'm really interested in your brand. I would love to stay in contact if you have any opening roles that might open in the future. And I think that's very important, specifically in the coronavirus. So most specifically for my industry, I think a lot of industries as well, a lot of companies are on hiring freezes. So because of coronavirus, I think you guys seen in America, currently the unemployment rate is very high.
Yeah,
So currently in America, the hiring freeze is very big. A lot of companies are just
yeah,
pausing their hiring internally and externally. But I don't want that to discourage anybody, because at the same time, you can still be in contact with people virtually. Introduce yourself, again, put that statement out. Hey, this is what I do. This is what I offer. I would love to work for you. I know that there are no positions open. I know the current state of the coronavirus. I understand. I completely do. But here's my resume. Here's my portfolio, whatever type of role you're applying for. And, I would love to stay in contact with you if you see any, after coronavirus lifts or whatever happens in your specific country that you're in. And, how I can stay in contact. And I think that's really something crucial to do. I think a lot of people are limited. I don't know why. It's because in our industry, what they do is, like, I remember when I was applying for my first job, you have to have all this experience. Or if you're applying for an internship, they want you to have all these years of experience. And I'm like, bro, you're supposed to be my experience. So my first job should be an internship, right? But you're saying that I need to have this amount of years of experience to get the internship, which is a bit backwards because the internship should be my
Excuse
experience
me.
so that I can get a full-time job. So I want to say, don't be discouraged by that societal way of thinking in terms of you need all this experience to get an internship. Change your narrative, change your approach about how you're reaching out to these companies. If it is an internship that you want, again, change your narrative. They need you at the end of the day. They need your talent. You may feel like, oh, I need them. I mean, it's a give and take relationship. You need
Yeah,
them and they need
yeah,
you. So don't be hesitant in how you approach yourself. Like, hey, this is my experience. This is what I have to offer. Even if you don't have a long list of, I was speaking to someone the other day. He was saying he doesn't have a lot of experience in the corporate world. I think he has none. So that's scary for him. But at the end of the day, your experience about what you're doing, if you have a personal brand, or whatever you're doing, your jobs that you've had that weren't related to corporate fashion, those things can help build a narrative to who you are, the type of person you are, how you can work. And, don't be discouraged. Change your narrative, approach these people and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I have to offer. I think my assets will work really well with your brand. I would love to keep this conversation going. And I think that's just the way to do things.
yeah. Amazing. How inspiring. Yeah, I think we can like open up for the question from the audience. Like, if you guys want to ask anything from, like, if you guys want to ask Alicia for anything, like, just leave the comment below. If we can reply that, okay, she here for you guys. And the reason why that I invited Alicia to come to my like live Instagram, because like what we are talking is really useful, like, and I think she incredible designer, and I need to hear like a lot of aspect from her point of view, because like at the end of the day, I'm still designer who working for like the local brand, and I need to stay in touch with her for get a lot of inspiration from her. Yeah, I think it's a great connection that we all have, because we from the different culture with different like background, and I think it's really important that we can keep in touch each other and support each other like this.
Yeah, I agree. No,
Yeah,
I
and
appreciate you,
also,
Pete, for having this, because I think it's so nice to bring in so many different worlds. We're talking about, people who want to move overseas, and what better way to do it to have people from, different regions and who both moved overseas. And
yeah.
I really hope that if anybody who knows me, that I love to give advice. So if anybody who doesn't know me in this chat, if you have any questions, my DMs are open. You can go, it goes down in the DMs. No, but I'm really open to if you want to DM me, like email me, whatever. I love giving advice.
Yeah,
I love giving advice, because why not? Why not help the next person?
yeah, yeah. And also I think fashion is not about like cold and mean anymore, like before, like I think people can get example from like Anna Wintour, or some people that really powerful and empower in
Yeah,
industry, and they
yeah,
look like cold, and
yeah,
they're just blunt, and they're just, yeah, not really friendly. But in this situation, like in the global situation, and like we got so much problems to solve, so we don't
yeah,
need to be like cold, and we don't need to be mean to each other, like we can support each other, like every designer can connect to each other, and you can get like some advice from people who has more experience, like especially like you, for example. I think it's the best way to grow in the career path, and then you can, like you can take all of this experience and then tell to the young generation
mm-hmm.
that, okay, what what is the important thing to working in fashion industry. You know, it's not just about like beauty, it's not just about like how your personality gonna be like shine in the industry, but it's all about like how you keep connection and how you communicate and how you like embrace all of things together. You
Yeah.
know, I think it's the important thing that you always do and you always like inspire. I think inspiring people is like is the is the cool way to do it. I would, can I just say like inspiring,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
inspiring people. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, inspiring. Yeah,
Yeah, thank you,
yeah.
Pete. I
Thank you so
appreciate
much,
you.
Alicia. Me too. Just come back to Thailand whenever you want.
I want
You
to come
know,
back. I can't wait.
and you know, just one thing to all American friends, like you know, Thai community, like we are supporting you guys, like about this situation. We've been following like from like the social media, and you know, we know how hard is that, you know, and we know like you know we saw it, we see it, and I think the world would know about
Yeah.
what truth or what not true, you know.
Yeah, exactly. No, I really, really appreciate that, and I'm pretty sure everyone who's from America in the group, they appreciate it as well. It's sometimes it feels like we always constantly have to prove to people why our lives matter, but that shouldn't be the case at all. And I really appreciate you for, obviously understanding that our lives matter. Like what person doesn't understand that? Like I don't understand, but it's been such a heavy week. It's so tough to constantly be in the media and to see all this stuff, especially for me being far away from America is really tough, seeing it. And I don't know, just for me, I need to stay engaged in the media because, as I mentioned to you before, being here alone, I feel that sense of virtual community. But to constantly be online and see so much hate that's been going on in my country for
Yeah,
forever,
exactly.
it's mentally draining. You feel bad for being in a good mood because it's tough, and I really appreciate hearing that, people in other countries, they rally for us, and, it's just, I don't know, I hope things can get better. We'll see. It needs to get better.
Yeah. We got questions. I think you see that. Like, I'm coming back to fashion work again, but more sustainable in terms of helping the community and eco materials from the village. Do you think? Oh, I can't see. Do you think there any market out there internationally, like the material from the village? Like because like she went to like the Bhutan, right? Bhutan village in a country that you know really like I how I can say like really local and really like much more beautiful stuff over there and full of the nature, and she want to ask like kind of like ethnic style or something like that, like
Like
is that
in
gonna
terms of
be like a
aesthetic, or like the
the market
fabrication, how it's made.
the yeah the fabric how it's made,
Oh,
so
okay.
she
Like
gonna
if
work
she
from that.
she wants to know if there are any companies interested in that.
Yeah, like maybe like in the market internationally.
Um, yeah, I think there are. Like, I think you can across the world there are different niche companies who are interested in that. First off, like if you look at many different startup brands or things like that, there are specific niche brands who are definitely interested in that. I think to find them, you have to do your research to understand who those companies are. In terms of global companies, again, I think there are companies who are interested in things like that, anything that can move them forward sustainably. Like I know for one, for Timberland, we are always interested in new fibers, new things that are going to be good for the environment and then also good for the consumer in terms of wearability. So there's definitely a market for it if your fabric or your material is eco or has some amazing benefits for the consumer. There are companies who are interested in that, and I think that's a testament across the world, not just in specific regions.
Yeah.
This was a great comment. Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it. Tyler is one of my friends from school. He's in tech. but I like this and it gives me so much inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the sustainable is gonna be like a big topic next
Hmm.
year, also this year, you know, because of like the several things that happen to the world right now. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the problem that we mentioned before, I think it's gonna be like on trend, and I hope
Yes,
it's
I
not
agree.
gonna like fade it.
I agree.
Yeah, anything like you can ask Alicia, you know, you can just ask her. All right.
You're welcome. It's been great. I really appreciate this conversation, Pete.
Yeah, I'm so excited because like I'm speak English also in
Because you're
front of the
probably
live
not speaking English
audience.
that often at
Yeah,
home, except for when you speak to me, maybe, and our other
yeah.
friends.
Okay, so I wish I could go to America like soon and also to see you in Switzerland also like
Yeah,
after all the situation like getting better.
yeah. We'll see. Hopefully things get better soon. We're already halfway through the year, so we'll see how things get.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't
All
see any
right.
more questions. So I know deuces.
Yeah, I appreciate you so much about this conversation. So maybe like next conversation, I can invite you back again to talk about like the another topic. You know, maybe it's we don't need to talk about fashion industry all the time. We can like talk about the political and the culture. You know, the culture
Yeah,
is really matter for us
yeah.
and for all the
The
people. You
culture is the
know.
reason why we even have a fashion industry. The culture really, you know, the fashion industry thrives off of the culture. So
Yeah,
I think that's an
I
important
think
thing.
I think maybe the culture would be like interesting topic for next time that we should
Cool.
share about that because like you know we have like friends from
All over. Russia,
all
India.
over like Russia, India,
Yeah.
Korean,
Yeah.
China,
Yes, the culture rules.
Portugal, Canada.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
over. Yes.
a
20.
lot. Like all
Mhm.
over, it's like really crazy, you know,
Yeah.
and we can share about our experience, you know.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that it's all related to the fashion world, you
Yeah.
know.
I think we're also
Mm,
connected and people don't realize that so many industries. Because again,
yeah.
when you look at all the industries outside of just fashion, we're all catering to consumers. Consumers are humans. We all have
Mm,
needs. So we make up a
yeah.
diverse background of humans. So all these
Mm,
industries, whether it's fashion, tech, whatever, we need to cater to these different people around the
yeah.
world. Welcome to
And
my TED Talk.
yeah, and of course that a lot of problem that happen in America is all connected to people in Thailand in social media, like you know. And I think it's gonna be like a big conversation about all the problem that happen in the world. Even especially like Thai people, they are aware about the
Mhm.
trend like
Yeah.
that go through the way in the air and also like across the country. They're also interested. They're like, it's I am interesting also.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for next time to talk about you. Let's like guys, thank you so much for watching me, Alicia, today.
Yes, thank you
And
guys. We really
I
appreciate
hope
the
you guys
support.
find it useful. And next time we're gonna come up with some topic. And if Kathy, if Kathy here, so I want to talk with Kat also in
Yeah.
live if she
Okay.
interesting too about
Oh,
like you
nice.
know culture is really matter. You
Hmm.
know, yeah.
Yeah, I really like this dynamic of, cross lateral cultures and communicating. So I think your platform is super cool, Pete. I support you
Thank
100%.
you.
Thank you for
I support you
bringing me to
too.
my first live ever. Woo-hoo.
Thank you. So Alicia, have a great day
You
and
too. Have a good
yeah,
night.
I'll talk
What
to you
time is it for
soon.
you? Is it 10 o'clock?
Yeah,
10 p.m.?
10 o'clock.
Because it's 5
10
p.m. for
p.m.
me. Ooh.
Yeah, 10 p.m.
Have
It's
a good
late
night,
right
sweetie.
now. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much
Yes, thank you everyone. We
from my
appreciate
bottom
you.
from my heart. We appreciate you guys so bad, like from America and also Thai audience as well.
Yeah.
And if it's struggle like some kind of the connection or something that I can't like you guys don't understand us, so I'm so sorry about that. Please.
Yeah.
All right, Alicia,
All
talk
right.
to you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye, guys.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao, ciao. ขอบคุณขอบคุณทุกคนมากนะคะที่ติดตามดูแบบจริงๆก็คือเหมือนแบบเป็นการพูดคุยกับเพื่อนผ่านทางไลฟ์แล้วก็หวังว่าจะสามารถหาประโยชน์ได้จากตรงนี้นะคะก็ขอบคุณทุกคนนะแล้วก็ยังไงก็ติดตามคนต่อไปด้วยว่าจะเป็นใครนะครับคนนี้วันนี้ก็บ๊ายบาย